Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Yeah, everybody, we got a great show. Nadine Gordon-Taylor joining me here today in a few minutes, and we are talking the third eye. The third eye. We're talking about the Heart Path Oracle cards. And we're going to tell you how to find out about Nadine and what she's up to and all of the above. We also, Benny, have 3 copies of the new book to give out, right? Just a lot to do. Here we sit today and we look for insight. Let's just call it insight. Or we look for signs, or we look for symbols, or we look for ... Found a quarter in the grass, whatever it is. Looking for answers, guidance, solutions. We're looking. And one of the things that I've been really just thrilled to understand better every day is the idea of how spirit works, and spirit getting to us in whatever way spirit can get to us. So let's just say that. But if you are my guest today and you're looking at somebody, a trained experimental artist, focusing on the animal kingdom, then looking at the symbolic connection to us human beings, and you put it kind of together, right? How is it then you teach others, lecture others, teach workshops, have a gallery, do all of that? How is it you pull all that together in the context of spiritual connection, insight, wisdom, and action? And that's what we're going to talk about today. These are beautifully illustrated cards, but it is what we do with them. It is how we look at our lives. It's how we step forward in every day. And I got to tell you, the what in my life is really good, but it's the how that's the most important aspect, I think, of what we do. And I know people right now, they are looking for a sign. They are looking for a direction. They are looking for something. And so every time I venture in to this world of, let me pull a card, let me get some insight, is this the direction I'm meant to go? Do I have to clean up some stuff before I get there? That's my latest thing I got to talk to Nadine about. It's, what happens when you leap ahead and you haven't cleaned up your stuff? But today it's all about you. And we are taking your calls. We have got cards we are going to pull for you. Nadine's going to pull 1-800-930-2819. You want to get in on this. Olivia's got you over on Facebook. Facebook Transformation Talk Radio. You want a card pull, we'll pull them. I will do my best, and she will even do better to hold them up, because some days it is just baffling. Nadine, great to have you.
Oh, so nice to be here. Thank you, Dr. Pat.
Baffled. Okay, can I start out with like a little chit chat with you?
Sure.
All right. Sometimes our dreams come true. You're an artist looking at the art right behind you there. You're living your dream. You're out there. You're creating. Sometimes we get all that. But we get a little caveat over here that says, Pat, you really want to launch this? Then you got to go over here and do some house cleaning. And sometimes the house cleaning isn't exactly what we want. And what I'm noticing about the energy of what we're living in the world today, there are multiple energies working. And in your cards, I noticed each card has that multiple energy. So I don't know if you sort of figured out that we've got to have multiple solutions for multiple things, or this just came to you.
Well, I do believe we're all guided. I don't believe in um, coincidences or things just happening. I believe my family has a science background. I actually was the one in the family who had very strange things happen from when I was small, and I was not acknowledged for having my intuitive abilities. They always thought I was just dreaming and making things up, but I learned to see things in terms of questioning and always looking for answers, and not because I was very fearful when I was younger. Because when things happened that I couldn't explain, um, I had no one to go to at that time. So I
Yeah.
did also become more of a science-based person. So everything I'm going to talk about, I believe one day ultimately will be explained in terms of physics. I don't believe any of this is going to be a question or a confusion to anyone, but I do believe that step by step, we create our reality. You know, they say you don't always get what you want, but you get what you need. I believe it's more like with our thought. I mean, a lot of people listening to this program will already understand that what you put your attention to manifests. And I don't know if everyone, there's knowing and there's integrating. I tell that to people all the time. You can read a million books, but if you don't integrate the knowledge, it's just data collecting. And so the point is, I think at some point, my spirit guides or whatever just kept hitting me over the head, because when I don't know something, they keep bringing me messages. So when I was creating my art, and I got a very strong message about 12 years ago, um, I never thought I was going to do oracle cards or anything new age. I was a serious fine artist. But I got some pretty strong messages that I couldn't avoid. And so I've learned to listen to when things start repeating. So in my little shop here, I would have my artwork and people would walk in and go, don't you think you should make oracle cards out of these? Don't you think you should make a tarot deck out of these? And it happened long enough that I said, oh my God, I think that's something I have to check out. So it wasn't my initial plan. I was always a fine artist. I studied fine art. I taught it. Um, my dream was to bring beauty into the world. I never quite understood um, that I was going to do it in the way I'm doing it. When I was, I guess about 12 years ago or so, I had a hypnosis session with someone, just like you're saying, you know, just to find out some answers to things. And I started channeling. I mean, that is a very common word lately, but really what I think that word means is you're allowing your higher self, and you actually are listening to your higher self giving you the direction. And they told me to go back to the way I used to draw and paint when I was probably about 13 or 14, where I didn't do anything external. It was all internal. I called it my high class doodles. I doodle symbols and animals and things, but never looking outside, just whatever came from inside of me. And so I had done a whole series beforehand where I did my shadow and my work. It was all external. This was totally told to go inside. So I was guided to go back inside and go back to that feeling I used to have when I was younger, before external things influenced me so much. Before I went to school, before I went to art school, before I went to college, you know, before I got the doctorate, before I have all this data collecting. So I went back to a state where, to me, is the ultimate truth, in which is all these cards keep saying. You have to go in, you have to listen to your own intuition. I don't know if that answers your
It
question.
does answer my question. And here's the thing I want to say to you about it, because you sound a lot, you really sound a lot like me in a lot of ways. I was a doodler. I mean, I can't tell you how much trouble I got in from doodling.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, teachers don't get the doodle thing.
Right.
They
Mhm.
just don't get it. And when I moved to Seattle, I did a different kind of doodling. It was a really emotional move for me. I just found out a close friend of mine, breast cancer, and I started to, I'll call it doodling, but I started to create some sketches. And if I showed you a sketch from that time, you would look at it and be able to tell me the symbolism in it. You would be able to do that. I don't have a clue. And I might even ask Linda to try to find it or find it on my computer. But it was a hand sketch.
Mhm.
And what I'm fascinated by with this is a lot of my day is to help create a way for people to access positive dialogue, stories, information, and solutions.
Mhm.
16 years doing this, that hasn't changed a minute. The network hasn't changed a minute. But interestingly enough, there's now another pull for me, another pull. And I want to talk about how the cards help us get clarity on that, and how you, as an intuitive artist, can help other people define the meaning of their own soul's intuitive art. See, I think the soul is the most genius mastery
Mhm.
artist on the planet, the soul. I don't even know what to say about it. But the soul seems to capture the essence of art and imagery in a
Mhm.
way that it gets put in front of us. And I got to tell you, facing that piece of art some days just makes me weary. So today, we're going to break this down. We're going to pull some cards. And what if the pull that you have causes you to really become different? What if somebody like me, who's visionary, 36,000 feet up in the air, has to drop down at a level of detail
And be grounded.
to work with the team to say, you guys got to do it this way?
Mhm.
That's just it. You got to do it. How uncomfortable is it for me? We're going to take a short break. I know I'm not alone, because you know what? All y'all out there that are multitasking and you're taking care of your kids right now, you're trying to do a job, you got a whole lot of things. Imagine what it's like for you to be in the middle of maybe that really cool program you're writing, or maybe that job that you're doing. And all of a sudden a light bulb goes on and said, OMG, I forgot the lunch for my kid today. That's what we're talking about. Let's take a short break, everybody. We'll be right back. Phone lines are open, 1-800-930-2819. We'll be right back. Got my disco shoes on, Benny.
Are they the platforms with the goldfish in the heels?
Oh my gosh, did you
Did
know
they
those?
really make those? Everyone
Yes, they
says that.
did. No, I'm
I've never actually
sorry.
seen a pair. Oh, okay.
Oh, I had my, what is it? Okay, this is flashback. Glitter platform shoes with glitter bell bottoms.
Okay, I can get that.
Can you get that?
That's
Can you get the
spicy.
feel of that?
That's spicy. Yes.
It's a very spicy.
Uh-huh.
Well, let me give you another picture.
Oh, okay.
Bright red hair, like bright red.
Like Kool-Aid?
Yeah. Like it's orange. It was more like an orange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Not sure what I was thinking of back then, but it worked for a short period of
So
time.
orange Kool-Aid.
I know. That's what we got. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Benny is going to be busy. We're picking up the phones. Lily will get right to you. But before we do, Nadine, how do people find out about you? And let's tell folks how they get the cards, the book, all of the above.
Well, the Heart Path Oracle cards were published by Bearing Company. And they have, you can go to their website, you can go on Amazon and just Google the Heart Path Oracle deck, or my name, and you can get it directly from them. I do have a shop in Peekskill, New York, and I do sell them here too. My website is www.thethirdEyestudio.com, and it has all my information on it. Every image that's in the card also can be bought as a G-Clay print. Sometimes people need to have something after they pull a special card. They like to have that separate print, and every print comes with a write-up about what the symbols mean too. So yeah, and you can always contact me through my website. It has my phone number, it has my email, everything that you would, and I respond to everything.
I got to tell you, they're beautiful. And I want to just, before we go to the phones and before we go to social media, Olivia will be looking at that. Most people want to know, how does this work? Now, I think I've been doing this long enough that I know there's an honoring of the process. I mean, I'm really clear about that. But sometimes it's hard for us to zoom in on the message. And I found myself last night, and Lily, get your question ready. I found myself last night doing detailed work that I just thought, this is so not my groove, right? This is so not my jam. I am the triple Sagittarius,
Oh boy.
triple Capricorn, moon in Capricorn. I am not a Virgo. That's Linda. But I had an epiphany. I just could not take myself and move ahead on the vision until I took care of some things in our business. So I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to sit and look at somebody's calendar and help them figure out how to fill out a calendar and do tasks, especially if you've not. I'm willing to take a look at the way we name our shows and say, and oopsie, we need to go back and change it. But that's not my calling. How do you help people understand there's a situation you're in and there's a situation you want to be in? How do we help folks make that transition? Because if you're me after 16 years and you don't see a way out, and do you want to know the card I pulled on this? If you don't see a way out, wow, that's depressing.
Is that the card you pulled?
I did the way out.
Oh
I pulled the way out card. I mean, it was weird,
That's
but
funny. Well,
isn't that funny?
It's never funny. I have to tell you, I've been doing this particular deck for 2 years now, and I have had readings in the shop, readings in fairs, wherever I go. The people, you think it's magical that you always get whatever you need. It's your higher self. But I'm going to go back to the title. It's called the Heart Path. I think when you allow yourself, and the word I want to say now is allow. All right, not surrender, not any other word, but when you come to the understanding that you are the one who is creating what we were talking about before, the physics, the energy, the quantum, whatever you want to call it, that step by step, we have cause and effect. We have things that come to us and we respond in certain ways, and that response creates waves, right? So an energy. So my first thing is, first you have to answer all that you are doing and any questions you have. It's got to come through the heart, not the head. You can have them work in tandem, but you must have the heart there. So if you feel that there are things you are supposed to do before you can move on, that is your heart telling you that.
Yeah.
There is a balance that's in this world. There is your higher self, or I call it the heart. You can call it your spirit guide. You can call it angels. You can call it God. You can call it whatever you want. But there is an energetic force here that is not. It's neutral. It's not in duality, and it works a little bit like quantum. You push something out, and it causes a certain action. And I don't believe in randomness. It's how you respond to what comes on your path that causes the word karma, that we call karma. There isn't a good or a bad to it. It's neutral. It's just if you're born into certain circumstances, sure, you are born into it as a male or a female, or in Alaska or in New York, whatever. And then how you respond and the roadmap of your life is going to determine what you do with what you've been given. Now, not everyone starts off with the same deck of cards, so to speak. We all are given certain things, but it's how we respond. I will tell you that, again, about 12 years ago or so, I read a book called The Artist's Way, right? And there was something called morning pages. So every morning I got up at 4:45 before work and I wrote in my morning pages, except for what happened is they became more affirmations. And affirmations, as cliche as that sounds, are so important. That is why I included them at the end of each of the card messages, because affirmation, your voice, your words are vibrations. They are reprogramming or rebooting what you've been taught from birth, and maybe even from a past life, as some of you on this program will believe. So the fact is we have programs running just like in the computer, and you may not know it. That's why a lot of my cards have to do with becoming aware that unconsciously, on some level, you've got multiple things running at the same time. You may think you want to go do something. You may think you want to do it, but there's some program playing, and it could be from birth, it could be from before, that is counterproductive to that. And all you have to do is shed light to it. That's what enlightenment is. It's not like you have to do anything complex. You just have to understand that that's what's going on, and then you release it, or you allow yourself to move on. I don't think it's as complex as a lot of people make it out to be. I mean,
I agree. I agree. I think what makes it complex is our fear and doubt. Our fear and doubt is what makes it complex. And, you know, I think about that for myself. I think about the fact, I was looking at a picture of me and Shirley MacLaine,
love her.
and I sent it over to David, and me and Gloria Steinem.
Oh, nice.
And I tapped into the energy of the passion behind doing this. I don't come from this place. I was a corporate executive, went to school to study broken promises. Publishers want me to write a book about them. Every time I think about it, I get depressed. So I'm not sure where I'm going to go with that.
Just got your answer.
I did get my answer, didn't I? I mean, I studied it 10 years. Can you imagine what happened to me after 10 years? And I won awards for this. I mean, think about winning awards for studying something on broken promises, and your dissertation wins awards and your other stuff wins awards. And you have 1,200 pages of interview notes. I'm telling you, I was broken. I couldn't get a job. I dialed the wrong phone number, and here I am. But here's what I want to say. I want to hop over to Lily, because I want Lily to experience what we're talking about. And then it is fascinating to me how your cards, I'm going to call them your cards, they're not just cards. They tell a story. And we're going to talk about the one I picked, and maybe there's another one. But I am so fascinated to hear what our fabulous listener, Lily, wants to know and what you pull. Lily.
Good morning.
How are you?
How are you? I'm well. How's everyone else doing in the land of living?
I'm batting 1,000. Batting 1,000, Lily.
Okay. So what do I do? How does this what's the process of this? Tell me.
I'm gonna jump in here now. It's with these cards, it's better to have a general understanding that it's your higher self that's going to give you what you need to hear for this particular situation. It's not like a yes or a no, should I do this or that? It's not going to give you any psychic answers. It's going to be more of for you to think about certain things. So I actually pulled a card, and all I asked my higher self was, I just said, for the first caller, I'd like to pull a card. So I can read you the card and then you can respond after. I think that might work. And the card I pulled was the key to success.
Wow.
The key to success. And it says, open your heart. And the first part of the book has a description, a complex description, because most of it is so small. You know, it's got, you mentioned before, it's a narrative. It's not, the next deck that's going to come out is going to be individual animals. This is a put together story, like a sigil. It's like a shorthand for your higher self to give you what it is you need to hear. So I'm going to tell you that it has, I'm going to read real quick. It's a little long, but it says, the card that was selected shows the front doors of a spiritual space, a portal swinging open. They reveal the cosmos and all its glittering luminaries. There's 2 salamanders on either side. There's 2 butterflies. There are 2 figures holding up a dahlia and a ladybug in the middle. There's a moon coming out of the doors, and there's 2 dogs. There's a potted plant, and there are 2 dogs, a golden retriever and a black lab. One is holding a key and the other one is let go of it or is looking at it. And it says, this is a time of transformation and clarification for you. Things will be changing before your eyes. The quotation from Alice in Wonderland, I thought who I knew, who I was when I got up this morning, I thought I knew, but I must have changed several times since then, was written for you. And change is happening at all levels, spiritually, emotionally, and physically, especially on the cellular level. This is a very fertile time. Your passions are nourished by universal forces and blossom into something unique. Take advantage of your family, past and present, and embrace their strength, power, and wisdom. Be grateful that you are part of this lineage. Your golden retriever and black lab want you to embrace the concept of unconditional love. Your self-worth doesn't come from outside sources such as teachers, friends, or strangers. It comes from the light in your heart. Your heart is a beacon. Follow it. It will reveal to you your best and most valuable friend, you. You are an unconventional person, a hybrid of sorts, and it's time to acknowledge your awesomeness. And your two beautiful butterflies have evolved special powers to ensure their safety, because these are postman butterflies. As caterpillars, they feed on passion flower leaves, strong toxic chemicals throughout their lifespan. Their red and black coloring communicates to predators, beware, don't mess with me, I won't taste good. Acknowledge and unlock your special powers and share them with the world. If this doesn't sound like you now, it will soon. You are here to cross boundaries and make connections. Doors will be opening for you. If you find them stuck, just give them a good shove. You have the strength. You are very powerful, almost a force of nature. There is a line from the movie Galaxy Quest, never give up, never surrender. Make it your mantra, say it often. You are a hard worker and will work day and night to achieve your goals. The Red Dahlia is a relative of the sunflower and says to let yourself shine. You are here to stand out, not be a follower. Use your God-given power and influence to bring stability, beauty, and love to this dimension. The full moon in this image grants you one wish. What will that be? And the affirmation is, I unlock that which is hidden and embrace the miracles that are revealed. So now if you want to respond in some way to what I just read you, Lily.
Go ahead, Lily.
I like it. Number one is that butterflies, every day I'll see a butterfly and say, what's my message today? That's I always ask the butterfly, my message. And I've been dreaming about animals. Last night I was dreaming about animals and dogs. And I have dogs, of course, myself, but I've been dreaming about them. And I know that I'm meant to let my light shine. I understand that. And that was my thought this morning, kind of dimming my light a little bit to allow others to feel comfortable. But at this point in time, that's not what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to go ahead and shine. I do understand the message.
And it means, you understand, these aren't just any butterflies. These are butterflies that have fed on the passion flower. And think of the word, that's everything in this is symbolic. Passion, you need to feed yourself on passion. So the passion flower makes them that reddish color they are in this card. And in all my cards, I have to get very specific. It isn't just a butterfly or a dog. There's always a specific breed or kind. So it's saying, don't mess with me. There's a part of me that has been either taken advantage of too long or people have walked over me. And this is saying it's your time to, in a loving, always a loving heart pathway, stand out and know your strength and your power. You're much more powerful than you realize, no matter what it is that you are doing for a living. It says never give up and never surrender. If you have a passion, if you have something you want to do, then that is your higher self telling you that is your purpose. It comes from passion. That is the key. And the key to success here is the passion behind it and never letting anyone or anything talk you out of what you feel you need to do.
There you go, Lily. And don't hang up. I want to get your information so that Benny, we can send you a copy of the book. So don't hang up. Let Benny get your information. Okay, Lily?
Dr. Pat, one of the things I would like to do is I have my own radio show. I've been thinking about that. So that's all. I'm putting it out there. All right.
And consider it already done. That has been something I've known you for a while. And like we're talking about today, this is the time to really open the heart and let the heart guide, Lily. That is like a done deal for you. Don't hang up. Let Benny get this. Benny, let's take a break. We'll be right back. We're taking callers. Wow, that was great. 1-800-930-2819. What happens if more than one card pops out of the book,
Good question.
pops out of the deck? What
Um,
if you get 3 of them? Let's take a short break, Nadine. You're going to have to help me with this.
okay.
When we come back, more with Nadine Gordon-Taylor. I'm Dr. Pat, Heart Path Oracle Cards. Amazing. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. We are pulling cards live. Call in show 1-800-930-2819. You're going to get to experience the Heart Path Oracle cards from Nadine Gordon-Taylor. Before we jump back into this and talk about the many ways messages can be received with the cards, again, mention how people can get them and how they can find out more about you, Nadine, if you don't mind.
The Heart Path Oracle cards are available from Inner Tradition Baron Company. You can go to their website and order them directly from them. You can go on Amazon and just Google it, and it'll come out my name or the Heart Path Oracle cards. And I'm also located in Peekskill, New York, and I have a shop at 201 South Division Street in Peekskill, New York. It's called Third Eye Arts. And you can go to my website, www.thethirdEyestudio.com, and everything is on there. In fact, I have an animation website. I was so excited to get that. And so everything's on there. You'll need to know how to get the cards. You can order them. There's a link there directly to the site.
That's exciting, isn't it? That's exciting. And by the way, I love animation. If I had more time in my day, I would learn how to do some of that animation. I fool around with it a little bit. And upstate New York is just like the beautiful place. It's just gorgeous. I want to talk about a couple things, and especially about the way that you guide folks in the book. And we are taking your calls for those of you out there. We still have copies of the book to give away for those that want to have a card pulled. 1-800-930-2819 is our toll-free number. And a couple things I want to talk with you about. These cards are stories. They are, and I had to read this one over and over again, but sometimes more than one card will pop up, either pop up, or let's say you're compelled to pick another card. It's not because you didn't like the other card, but there's just this thing that happens. Can you tell us how that works for people? Because a lot of folks will say, oh no, don't look at the other cards, just take the first one. But how do these cards work?
Well, I'm going to tell you that it's pretty much the same for everything. Your higher self is always going to get the message out to you no matter what. So if you don't get it the first time, it's going to keep trying. But if more than one card comes out, I do believe you're meant to hear the message from that card. And if a few pop out, I mean, you can pull one a day. You can do 3, which is past, present, future, or past, present, future, and outcome. If you really want an in-depth, complex, it will take at least an hour to do multiple cards. Every card, like you said, it's a spirit narrative. When I started with these images, I used to be, my artwork used to be, in a way, almost the opposite. I was, more Zen type, and these are to get out as much information to you as possible, in the smallest little frame possible. This has got the key to how you are feeling right now, what you need to hear. And the question is, are you going to allow it in? And that is the key word for almost anything. But when you want to move on to the next thing in your life, when you need help and guidance, it's not to go outside to something it certainly doesn't hurt you to take steps for something, but you have to allow your higher self to guide you. I always use getting on a horse, for example. You get on a horse and you sit there. Now, where's the horse going to go? If you don't do anything, the horse might wander around and take you wherever it wants to go. You can take the reins and give it a little, shove, but the horse may know something you don't know. So it's a team thing. It's you get on the horse, you listen to your higher self, you take the reins, and you do what you need to do on the ground in this world that you need to do, but you don't do it alone. You do it with your higher self. And that is, you have to allow that in, because a lot of people say they would like that. And then when they get the first message, oh, no. you know. And so if more than one card to come back pops out, most likely your higher self wants you to give a message. And as I said earlier, I got the same card 3 days in a row, shuffling out of a deck of, you know, now it's 53 cards. I got the same card 3 days in a row, which meant I didn't integrate that message yet. And I had to keep hearing it over and over and over again. So I don't believe anything is an accident. I always had conversations with my scientific brother about this. You know, to me, everything it happens for a reason.
Well, and you know, this is part of this too, in looking at what is on our hearts. And let me just say it like that. What is on our hearts? The other thing is there are a couple of ways that people can work with these. And I think what you've done in the book is you said, look, you could look at past, present, and future, right? You could take a look at past, present, future, and outcome, which I found was interesting. So I wonder about the 3 cards that popped out for me. Or you could ask a specific question.
As long as you're open to what the answer is and not giving a specific, this is what I want, yes or no. They're not.
Well, that's it though, isn't it?
It's a journey, no matter what you're asking. If you say, you know, am I going to get love in my life? Well, the card may actually explain to you why it's not happening. Now, do you want to allow that love into your life? It isn't psychic. Nobody actually has the answer for you. You're actually bringing that psychic into your life, and that psychic is telling you're allowing through energy cords for that psychic to give you what you need to hear up to a certain point. Now it's up to you to go, is that the right thing for me? Because whatever you put your attention to manifests. So if they tell you you're going to have 3 kids, you might carry that around in your head for a long time, and that thought might not even be yours. I mean, I always say to people, be careful whose thoughts you let into your mind. If it's run by the heart and then the heart feels really good about that, then I will say yes.
And so one of the things that I think that we look at is, you know, how to understand the messages, and what you did in the book, if I could just say, because I went ahead and there were 2 other cards that popped out. And so one of them I read earlier, which is the way out. The second one was swimming between the spaces. And the third one was telepathic communication. And once you go in and you read them, right?
Yes.
Then you get a sense of it. Because when I went to the swimming between the spaces card, right?
Yes.
If you just take a look at that card, I had a moment where I started to read it. Think with your heart, connect with your light, right? Think with your heart, connect with your light. And there were these symmetrical figures in here. And remember that piece of art I said I scribbled when I moved to Seattle?
Yes.
It had perfect symmetry of all the symbols.
Well, balance. Yes.
Fascinating to me. But then I started to read about it. And it says, the radiant sun announces a new day in your life. So far, I've got the way out. Something good is on its way. Then I get this one. The radiant sun announces a new day in your life. Its power and intensity awaken you with light and love. And then it talks about the hawk.
The red-tailed hawk, which is a solar bird. Yep.
Yeah.
Carries you up the source.
Yep. And then it talks about the frogs. The punchline then comes to be, it talks about, since frogs are associated with water and water symbolize emotion, they want you to get in touch with old feelings you have ignored, let them go and embrace your personal power. What you now believe to be true was learned from a very old, outdated program. Put on your superpower glasses and see past that which would hold you back. And then it goes on to talk more about that. But I find it fascinating, out of all the 3 cards that could pop out of the deck, these 3. And on the surface, here's what I want to ask you. The first one, the way out and swimming between the spaces, on the surface, it says, yeah, I can play with them. But then there comes telepathic communication. What's your take on that? I'd love to hear your way of looking at things that happen like this for our listeners.
Again, I always believe we're guided on some level. And as far as the way that the cards popped out, is that what you're asking? That the
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
cards, again, I don't believe there's ever an accident, but you are always in control of how you want to steer your reality. So of course, I believe that these cards have a meaning and for you, but it's more important what you believe, because I want to add that although I write a lot of things about these, and the writing comes directly from my creating. As I create, that's when I know what I'm going to say. It's very important for you to do what you were just doing. Look at it and connect to it too, because when I did this with someone and she got it, she goes, well, dahlias are my favorite flower. Well, I mean, almost anyone who pulls a card will say the most amazing things about it, but you had to look at it first and see it, make that connection. Someone else might like dahlias, but look at it and walk right away and not even notice it. So it's, again, the next card that I was going to pull for someone has to do with mindfulness. The fact is there's just a few simple things we learned in kindergarten that are really true today, how you treat yourself, how you treat others, what you put your attention to, being mindful. So if you get a card and it comes out and then you get another two, that's your choice to be mindful, to know that your higher self has these messages for you, and then you will receive what you need to hear. But we're going to go back to the word allow. I mean, there are a lot of people that wouldn't even pick this deck up for different reasons. It's not that they're good or bad or right or wrong. It's that then they're not up to the point in their evolution where they could even handle what they would need to hear. So they're having baby steps to that point. Everyone will get there, but we're all attracting different things. So if you've attracted this information into your life at this time, you are ready to hear it. And the more you focus on it, the more you will hear. The more you look at it. That's why I called it a sigil, because in a way, you don't even need the words. If you have this in your mind and you see this and you look at it, and some people pull one card a day, one card a week, because they need to integrate this longer. So if you keep looking at it, and some people even buy the print because they want to look at it more, you will start having a dialogue and seeing things and experiencing things that evolve as you grow and evolve, and as you allow it in. And it's like an onion skin. It just keeps peeling off. Eventually you're gonna get down to what's stored in your DNA. And there's a lot stored there.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I love about looking at the connectivity of things. And I think you said it way back early on, and let me just comment on it. Heart path oracle cards. Heart path oracle cards. I've learned a few things in my life, but I have to be reminded of them. I've never really gotten very far with a closed heart, right? And I know I'm not unlike a lot of people growing up in tough circumstances, whatever that looks like for people. But we don't have to stay that way.
No.
And I think that becomes a journey all unto itself. It becomes the journey where when you pick up something and read it, you don't just hear it, but you can feel the dynamic nature of it. And I think because of the way you created these, both artistically and spiritually and energetically, each of them has a multi-dimensional level. My friend Jean Houston will say, you're tapping into the entelechy, Patricia. You're tapping into the entelechy. Talk to your quantum partner. Mm-hmm. And so I pulled the telepathic communication card, because here's the thing. I can't solve the problem at the level it was created. I didn't say that, Einstein did. I can't solve the problem at the level with the same thinking that created it. But what if it wasn't solved with thinking at all?
Well, that's the heart.
That's the heart.
And I just want to add that sometimes people get fearful of things like this. This is not a tarot deck, and even tarot, it's the reader who does the interpretation. Everything in here, it's called the heart path because it's all positive messages. If I would never want you to focus on something negative. These are all just, it's almost like New Age therapy. It's all, they're gentle messages just to gently wake you up to the fact of how powerful you really are. And you don't, I mean, yes, your higher self is going to guide you to things like this deck. But there's a Buddhist saying, you need the boat to cross the river, but you don't carry the boat on your back once you get to the other side. Once this does its job, then, I mean, you will then go on to the next stage in your life, and you will attract other things in. And that's why every deck or everything you've ever gotten or will do, it's all important little steps on your journey. You always attract what you need at that particular time. Once you integrate it or mature or grow up spiritually, and I call it spherical thinking, that you don't think linearly, if that's the word.
Yeah.
You have to think spherically. It's a totally different way. And once you change your concept of the linear timeline and you come from the heart path, and this is something I had an epiphany not too long ago, when you come from the heart and you see things in that way, your whole timeline changes. Not just your future and where you're going, but the way you've experienced the past shifts also. You are on a whole new timeline. And that comes only from the heart. That's not going to come from the head. I'm not going to put down the ego or the head. I think we need both.
Yeah,
It's
I know
just
you do.
shadow. I don't put shadow. There are images in my deck that deal with the shadow. Your shadow side is very important. It's not to be feared. It's to be integrated. And once you integrate that and don't run from it, you become even more powerful. So all these messages, when I say miraculous messages of love, I would have never said that in the past, but almost everyone, you don't know how many people have come here almost in tears telling me how they've shifted. And it could just be one word, one phrase, something in there, because they're ready to do that at that point.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm just going to end it with this. I told you to pull that telepathic communication, but it isn't what I thought it would be. And I just want to read it because this is where we started with me on the show and talking during the break. This piece is about speaking your truth to the world.
Yep.
Hello. And it goes on to talk about it. Don't underestimate your abilities and never listen to any voice in your head that's not loving and passionate. Thank you for today. Last thing I want to say, when I ask you for your personal message and your website, you know what my Buddhist teacher told me about that boat in the river thing? Gave me the boat in the river quote and then looked at me and said very peacefully said, but for you, I want you to step in the water just to make sure you don't need the boat to cross, Pat.
I like that.
Don't spend time trying to get the boat in the water and you're in 6 inches of it. Nadine, thank you for today. Tell folks how they can find out about you, and thank you so much.
Oh, you could go to my website, www.thethirdeye-studio.com. Everything is on there. Had a link with the cards. And I do want to say that my next deck is coming out in June. It's called Animal Love Oracle deck, and it will be very specific messages from each individual animal.
I love it. Beautiful. Thank you for
you so
sharing
much.
your heart, spirit.
Thank you,
Everybody, Nadine Gordon-Taylor, thank you all. We're going to take a shorty. We'll be right back.